that those people that left Egypt in the Exodus, they got saved from Egypt, but they didn't make it to the promised land. So what's your goal? Just getting saved from Egypt? Just getting saved from sin? Or is your real goal to make it to the promised land? By the way, you should be making it your goal to get to the promised land. Don't die in the wilderness. Why did they die in the wilderness? Disobedience. They believed in the Lord saved them, but they were disobedient and they died in the wilderness. They didn't make it to the promised land.
What do you believe with regard to once saved, always saved?
Once saved, always saved is a Baptist doctrine. It's actually, the title of it's actually called Eternal Security. So for the benefit of other people, let me explain this. Basically, the teaching is the Messiah's salvation is so powerful and so great that once you accept him, that you are securely in his hand and you cannot get loose from him. In other words, he saved you and it's an absolute salvation, and you hold on. And he holds on to you. No matter what you do, at that point you can never deny, the Lord completely. You're saved. That's the idea behind that. There's a couple of things that are flawed with that. Namely, going around and announcing what God has in fact done, like for example, he has saved and he has condemned somebody for eternity. The last time I checked, the Messiah doesn't consult with any one of us on any decision about the eternal destiny for any person, by the way, including you. He has never come to me and said, well, Monty, I'm considering the decision for eternal destiny for you. Which do you think? Do you think we should go send you to heaven? We think we should send you to hell, eternal damnation? What's your opinion on that as I make a decision here? He doesn't do that. And by the way, he doesn't consult with you to consider anybody else. So let's get one premise right. God is the one and only true judge. Could we agree on that? And if you agree with that, then how can you then further go with it and say, well, this is what God absolutely will do or absolutely will not do? If he truly is the one true judge, then how can we go and project what he's going to do? Now, I just want you to sit there and honor the Lord the way he is, and then let me show you a couple of examples. I can assure you that those people that left Egypt in the Exodus, they got saved from Egypt, but they didn't make it to the promised land. So what's your goal? Just getting saved from Egypt? Just getting saved from sin? Or is your real goal to make it to the promised land? By the way, you should be making it your goal to get to the promised land. Don't die in the wilderness. Why did they die in the wilderness? Disobedience. They believed in the Lord saved them, but they were disobedient and they died in the wilderness. They didn't make it to the promised land. Now, I'd like to believe, and I'm sincere about this, that when we get to the kingdom, they'll be there. They'll be there. But what is the one lesson that's constantly being taught in the wilderness experience of what we're talking about? Don't test the Lord. If you have a testimony that the Lord has saved you, delivered you, don't turn around and go and say, well, how far can I take this as far as testing the Lord about, let's see how good his salvation is. You know, Paul emphatically says that God's grace is not supposed to be flaunted to you so you can see how gracious he really is. Mm-hmm. And God forbid that you should sin, you know, after you've received his grace. And I believe that God's wisdom and judgment is perfect. I believe that he does not let the guilty go unpunished. I believe he does forgive iniquity and sin. And I think that you better be humble, and I think that you ought to be full of fear and awe of God. And if you do get saved, I don't think you should be testing out to see if you're really saved forever. Mm-hmm. I think you should be thankful and move forward. And so this whole discussion, and I used to participate in these discussions when I was a good Baptist boy, is futile. And it's really, quite honestly, silliness. And it's not going to promote your spiritual maturity.
And I think the most simple answer would be there's a lot of children of Israel that were saved from Egypt that delivered through the Red Sea that didn't make it to the Promised Land.
That's right.
So they weren't saved once and then always saved.
Right. So don't push it. Right. With the Lord.
We the lamb sang in, sun the lamb